Today's project, we're going to turn this into a shallow bowl or platter. You take your pick. See you in a minute.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Wolf Ridge Woodworking. Today we're going to be turning this shallow bowl slash platter, depending on how it goes. It's going to be the largest bowl I've turned so far. I got my normal ruler that I use to measure this to get ready for this video, and realized that that ruler wasn't going to be big enough, so I had to break out the tape measure. So the bowl is, or the blank I should say, is 10 inches wide by 2 inches deep. So by the time we put our mortise on for the chuck and turn it flat and everything, it's not going to be really deep bowl. So that's why I say shallow bowl slash platter. I'm going to do something a little different with it. I'm going to have it like a plate or a platter. It's got a dip in it, but then it's got a lip around it. I'm going to try to do something like that with maybe a decorative edge. I don't know. We'll see what the bowl, the piece of wood, speaks to me when we go through to turn it. My wife always gets a kick out of me when I say that it speaks to me, but it's really about when you start shaping it. What is it feeling? What is it looking like? And more in my place. So what mistakes do I got to cover up? We're gonna use a worm screw in this today rather than a faceplate. This is an extremely hard piece of wood. As you can see, I originally tried to put a faceplate on it, but the screws broke in it and I had to drill them out. So this is an extremely hard piece of wood, so I'm going to use a worm screw in it this time. So I'm going to drill a 5/16 inch hole. Try not to go too deep. And that should be good. Okay, and then we're going to get it started once it's on the lathe. So join me over at the lathe and we'll get this mounted up and start to turn. So we're going to get started by mounting our worm screw in the chuck first. Okay, so that's in there snug. And then we're just going to apply some pressure and turn it. There we go. So then it's just snug up against the faceplate. Unlock our spindle. Okay. And I'm just going to make sure that it's tightened down on there so it doesn't come flying. Okay, so that should get it. So we're going to turn the lathe on, and we're going to turn it at a slower speed to see what it does. Before we get started, we are going to always wear our face shield, and because this may get a little dusty, I'm also going to wear my face mask. So just make sure that your eyes and your lungs are protected. Okay, so we're going to get started. Going to get it on its lowest speed. Just going to turn it up and see how far we can get it before it wobbles too bad. Okay, probably start right there. That's about 600 RPM. Okay, so that's got it more in balance, but man, is it hard wood. So this is, I'm gonna have to take my time and make sure my tools are sharp, because it is super hard. So but I got it in balance, so I might try to go up on speed a little bit more. And so now I'm actually also going to switch over and use my longer tool rest, because this bowl is, like I said, much bigger than I'm used to. So I'm going to start working on rounding over this edge. So we're going to get started on that. See if we can get it up a little bit higher. It's about 900 RPM, so let's try that out and see what we can get with that. All right, so this is slow going, but we're getting there. We're starting to get a shape. It's just going to take a while. So now, before I go down further, I think I'm going to put my mortise in for my chuck, so I know exactly kind of how far I want to take this back. But it's starting to get a nice shape to it. So let's get our stuff to get that going. So now we're just going to, now that we've got that, we're going to keep establishing our shape of the bowl, and then we'll work on the bottom a little bit more to make sure that it's sitting properly. Okay, and it's got a nice little lip to it. Hopefully, yeah, you can see that on the camera, I think. So now that I've got that established, I'll start to, shape this a little bit better now that I know where that's going to be. And I think that's going to look nice. I'm probably just going to take some of this hard edge off, but I'll do that with a detailer tool here in a little bit. But now we're just going to continue to shape this bowl so that's got a nice gentle slope. I don't know if I'm going to go in too much further here. I think that's pretty good. Probably, again, made a mistake. I need to learn to get the shape first and then do my tenon just before I turn it over, because I don't think that's going to be deep enough. But let's get this shape finished up, and then we'll work on that mortise again. Feel a little bit right here. And what I find that with my larger round nose scraper here, that I can't always get into tight edges like here. But this carbide tool here, it's got a small radius to it. It's not a straight cut like this one is. This one's a straight cut here. This is an Easy Wood Tool straight cut. And this one here, being that it's a rounder edge, I can oftentimes get into tight spots like this and actually use it as a shear scraper. So that's what I'm going to do now. That's good. It's going to take a little bit of sanding, but not a whole lot, because it's nice. And I like the way that this edge here finished up. That'll come down a little bit once we start to clean that up. But I think that's a nice edge. Not too big. So now we're ready for sanding. So we're going to start at 150 and take it up to 320, and then we'll be back. Now that we've got it sanded at 320, we're going to apply, if I can keep it in my hands, our sanding sealer, which is a mixture of Mylan's cellulose sanding sealer and denatured alcohol. So we're going to apply it with the lathe turned off. So now we're going to apply our Yorkshire grid. Now we're going to turn the lathe on. Again, at the same speed as we had it before, about 900 RPM. We're going to buff it off with the rag that we applied it with. Switch over to a clean cloth and keep moving the towel around until we get it all off of there. It's very smooth. And I'm going to wait till the end to apply a finish. So we're going to take it off the screw now. Okay. Now we need to take our worm screw out. Got it on there pretty tight. Okay. And just tighten it down on our chuck. It's got a couple of spots in there, so we want to make sure we get it tight in both directions. We do not want this big hunk of wood coming flying off the lathe. Alright, you saw me use various tools. This was hard wood. I'll try to list them all. I used a round nose scraper, a left-handed scraper. I used my square carbide cutter, my round carbide cutter, just trying to get that. It's pretty smooth. Now, but what I want to try to do is I want to try to put something in this edge. Hopefully I don't mess it up because I don't have as much space, but I'm going to use my detail tool and try to just put a little, a little bead in here. So stick with me and let me try to do that. It's not the prettiest bead, but for freehand, I think I'll go with that. It just gives it a little bit of a decorative edge. I think I want to take this high point off here and kind of round that over. So let me do that, but I think this will be okay. Might take this down just a little bit just to kind of make it feel like the rest of it. So, and this has been a long process. It's probably going to be short to you, but this has been probably at least an hour, I would say, of hollowing this bowl out. It was really hard wood, but I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. So now I'm going to get the sandpaper out and get this bowl sanded. Okay, so we got it sanded down. Now we're going to apply our sanding sealer. Turned out to be a beautiful bowl. Made me work for it though. So now we're going to apply our Yorkshire grit. Just take it off the lathe and bring it over to the table, and we'll apply a finish. So now that we've got the bowl turned, we are going to finish with not olive oil. We're not cooking. I guess you could use walnut oil to cook, but that's not what we're using this for. But we're going to use walnut oil to finish this. And so we're just going to squirt a little bit in. And then rub it down. And then off camera, we are going to do this, several times. Just wipe it down, let it dry. And then, apply, several more coats. But, you may find that one coat is good, or, maybe a 2 coats. But either way, if over time, if you see that maybe it's losing some of its, shine, or it's just not holding up the way that you think, just simply apply another coat of walnut oil, mineral oil, butcher block oil. About the butcher block oil, mineral oil, I think pretty much the same. But whatever finish you apply, we'll just put another coat on it, and it'll recondition the bowl. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Again, this was a Bubinga bowl. It's a very shallow bowl, but it was a hard piece of wood. I had a lot of fun, learned a lot from this. It was the biggest bowl I've done. So there was some things that were easier, just being able to get the sander in there, so it wasn't a confined space. But, the challenge, this was a very hard piece of wood, very dry piece of wood, so it took a long time to turn. I didn't want to, push the tools too hard. Definitely going to have to sharpen all of my tools out for this, after this, I should say, before I start another project. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I thank you for stopping by. If this was something that you enjoyed, hit the smash button, or not the smash button. Been watching Peter McKinnon too long. Hit the like button. Share it, and if with somebody that you think might enjoy it, or if you want to see these types of projects, I do various pens, bowls, and maybe some flat work. But if you like that, subscribe to the channel. Either way, have a blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.